Welcome to late February, officially the worst time in the sports calendar year, because it's officially not football season. Earlier this month, we got to witness Super Bowl 59, where we saw a very meh game. It was a dominating performance from the Eagles, which is great for them and the city. It's also terrible for the city. But for the average NFL fan, the game was almost unwatchable. The most interesting part of the game was the halftime show, and depending where you go on the internet, the response was drastically different. Some calling it a masterpiece, while others call it boring, uninspired mumble rap. And of course, people took whatever angle they could to further whatever dumb agenda they're peddling at that very moment, because we can't just enjoy something without politics being injected into it. I personally thought it was just okay as a performance. It certainly wasn't Super Bowl worthy, but it wasn't bad. It just wasn't at the level people expect from the Super Bowl. An expectation that is nearly impossible to meet, even for the biggest of artists. It was also about as safe as a performance you could get, considering its main attraction was the Kendrick-Drake feud being played out on the world's biggest stage. In that regard, this was a masterclass in trolling. There are so many little elements and Easter eggs that will keep internet sleuths fanning the flames of this beef for weeks. And I think that was all very much by design. As someone who's done a little bit of trolling on the internet myself, link in the description. So I can appreciate Kendrick using this platform to pull off one of the biggest troll jobs the world has ever seen, even if it was at the cost of putting on an entertaining performance for a very wide audience. Ironically, this is the Super Bowl of trolling. Literally, no one could do it bigger. But I feel like a lot of people were just looking forward to screaming that Drake is an alleged.
And it's probably a minor! They not like us! They not like us!
I also think it is very funny that a sports league that has been beating me over the head with their virtue signaling by spray painting "Stop Hate" and "End Racism" in the end zone, let their halftime show be taken over by a guy telling the world how much he hates this individual person and that he isn't black enough.
They not like us. No, they not like us. No, they not like us.
Wild times. And real quick, people want to and have been taking this to a racial place, blaming racism on anyone who thinks that this performance was trash. I saw multiple people online calling white people scared of black people and black culture because they didn't think that it was a masterpiece. Which is ridiculous, because if you swap Kendrick Lamar with a white folk singer like Noah Khan, I think you have a similar problem. Now, Noah is a huge star in his own right, and in his own genre, but I don't think he has the catalog or the general vibes for a Super Bowl halftime show. But like Kendrick, Noah is in a battle. Though he's not battling another rapper, he's battling depression. So what makes a good halftime show? Well, you have about 15 minutes to put on an entertaining show that needs to be broad enough for all audiences, cleaned up enough for the NFL, and would it be too much to ask for it to not have undertones of political or social messaging? Can we just purely be entertained for 15 minutes? Trying to pull off all of these things is nearly an impossible task, but screw it. Let's try to imagine the perfect, hypothetical Super Bowl halftime show. The first thing I would do to improve the Super Bowl halftime show is stop telling people who's performing at the halftime show. I've been to about 7 or 8 concerts that use this gimmick of a secret show, where you go to the concert having no idea who the headliner is going to be. And they have been some of the best concerts I've ever been to because there's that element of surprise. A mystery performer also does one very important and often overlooked thing. It lowers the expectation of the audience. By not giving the audience a chance to build up expectations, it lowers the bar, which in the context of a Super Bowl halftime show is actually beneficial to the overall reception to the performance. Let's use this year's halftime show as an example. We found out Kendrick Lamar was going to be the halftime performer in September, while the Kendrick-Drake beef was still somewhat relevant, and then we had all season to prepare for Drake's funeral and wonder, is Kendrick gonna call Drake a pedophile right up top, or is he going to build up to it? By the actual Super Bowl, the beef had kind of fizzled out, and people's expectations were still extremely high for an artist who doesn't have mass broad appeal. To do a halftime show by yourself, you need a very deep catalog of instantly recognizable songs. I like Kendrick. I think he's great in his niche. Look at all the Grammys. But let's be honest with ourselves. Outside of Not Like Us and Humble, he really doesn't have that kind of catalog. Which leads me to my next point. There are very few artists in the history of artists that could pull off a Super Bowl halftime show with its current level of expectations. And for those acts who could pull it off, odds are they probably already have done it. Which is why it's almost a necessity to bring in at least a couple of guest appearances. It changes the pace and can diversify the show to include a wider audience. There is one joke from Tosh.0 that lives in my head rent-free because I genuinely think it is a genius idea.
I'd love to go to a music festival where the lineup was full of one-hit wonders. They play their song and leave. I hope Right Said Fred isn't too sexy to show up. C&C Music Factory better still be in business. You know Chumbawamba's still thumping that tub. And Dave Matthews, the one song you hate performing is the only one I want to hear. Just play Crash and get off the stage so our headliner, Lou Bega, can play Mambo No. 5.
Imagine a medley of artists playing a mashup of the greatest songs of the last 50 or 60 years. I think they did a scaled down version of this very well at the LA Super Bowl, where it was kind of like a relay race, where each artist passed the baton to the next and it flowed really well. Each artist played one or two songs that everybody knew, and because of this, there was no real lull in the show, and is probably why it was critically acclaimed in terms of Super Bowl halftime shows, even though it was that evil rap genre. But the kind of medley that I'm thinking about was done almost perfectly the literal next weekend after the Super Bowl. At the SNL 50 concert, there was a mashup done by Andy Samberg where he did every viral SNL digital short he did, and it is amazing. Now, trying to take this never done before medley idea and blending it with a ton of different genres and a ton of different artists would be very difficult. And on top of it, trying to keep it all a secret would be damn near impossible. In a world slowly being taken over by NDAs, it might be possible. You just need to get them to sign it. Let's build this Super Bowl halftime show. Firstly, we want to try and make this show as widespread as possible. I'm aware that if you try to please everybody, you're going to end up pleasing nobody. So this idea could be a disaster, but let's do it. I don't think artist selection is as important as song selection. I think song selection is way more important because the song needs to achieve at least one of two things. You must be able to dance to it or sing along with it. This clip from the Kendrick show, this is fundamentally not entertaining. If you can get the people in the stadium to enjoy it, the people at home will too. So when it comes to song selection,
every song I download has to pass a series of rigorous tests to answer one simple question. Is it a banger?
Next year's Super Bowl is the 60th anniversary of the Super Bowl, a fairly big milestone. In marriage terms, I believe that's the diamond anniversary. Could you imagine them opening the show with Kanye singing Diamonds Are Forever?
Diamonds are forever. Throw your diamonds in the sky, just feel the vibe.
The NFL can be dumb, but they're not stupid. Plus, the theme is a little too on the nose. You know, what was the #1 song during the first Super Bowl? January 15th, 1967, The Monkees' I'm a Believer. Actually, for a late 60s song, that's kind of a banger. For you younger people, this is the song from Shrek.
And then I saw her face. I'm a believer.
The only problem is 3 out of the 4 monkeys are dead. Death would be a problem I run into a lot while researching for this video. Now, I want to give this show a theme, and I don't want it to be political or have any other meanings other than just being a good show. Plus, most Super Bowl halftime shows have had a theme. A salute to Motown, a celebration of soul, salsa, and swing, the big band celebration. I want it to be simple, celebrating 60 years of music and 60 years of Super Bowls. Is that a lot to fit into 15 minutes? Yes, but here's my idea. Picture this. The stage is dark, and a spotlight hits blues legend Buddy Guy, laying down a very bluesy guitar riff. He's wearing an AFL NFL championship jacket. Blues is the origins of modern day music, and the AFL NFL championship game was the origins of the modern day Super Bowl. Symbolism. Now, Buddy Guy will be 89 at the time of next year's Super Bowl, but this was a clip of him from just a few months ago at 88. God damn, Black Don't Crack. So judging by this clip, he should be good to go. So from that funky blues groove, it blends seamlessly into the next song, Superstitious by Stevie Wonder.
Very superstitious. Writings on the wall.
Stevie Wonder is a legend who needs no introduction and has already done a Super Bowl halftime show. Next band up is Earth, Wind & Fire playing Shining Star. Now we've covered the funk and soul genres, let's move into the 70s rock with Sir Elton John, who, to my surprise, has never played a Super Bowl halftime show. Now, if you're wondering if this is already a lot, it is. But if you think about it, TikTok has ruined everyone's attention spans, so 30 seconds is about all you get before people get bored. So play the best part of your one song and get off the stage. So I think Elton John needs to play Saturday Night's Alright for Fighting.
Sing it now. Go on out. Saturday, 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 Saturday,
It's not his best song, it's not even close, but it is the most upbeat, and again, you want to get people moving. Rocket Man is undoubtedly a better song, but that will put people to sleep at the Super Bowl. I want to keep this show in chronological order in terms of music, so next up would be the stadium rock of the late 70s and early 80s. And I thought Journey's Don't Stop Believin' would be the easiest choice for this list.
just a small town girl living in a lonely world.
Hey, that's Journey. Kick ass!
That is Journey.
But Journey without Steve Perry just doesn't seem right.
Just a small town girl living in a lonely world.
And Steve Perry has made it pretty clear that there will never be a reunion between the two.
Steve Perry.
Huh? So maybe go with Styx Renegade? Or Bon Jovi's Livin' on a Prayer. Next, we move into early rap with Naughty by Nature, Hip Hop Hooray.
Hip hop hooray! Ho! Hey! Ho!
Then fading into Blackstreet's No Diggity.
Can I get down so I can win? I like the way you work it, no diggity. I got to bag it up.
Then you move to the late 90s with the R&B and pop with TLC's No Scrubs.
I don't want no scrub. A scrub is a guy that can't get no love from me. Hanging out the passenger side of his best friend's ride, trying to holler at me.
And Outkast's Hey Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Remember when I said Buddy Guy would be wearing a jacket that would be NFL AFL championship game themed? I was thinking every performer should be wearing a different Super Bowl themed jacket that the NFL could then auction off for charity or put up for raffle. And instead of dancers or other background performers, the NFL can accompany the music with clips from the greatest plays from past Super Bowls. That clip still hurts me. Anyway, back to the music. The next genre chronologically would be the boy band craze of the late 90s and 2000s. So getting a back and forth musical battle between NSYNC and Backstreet Boys would be a no-brainer. Plus, with NSYNC teasing a comeback and the Backstreet Boys going to have a residency at the Sphere this summer, this isn't completely unrealistic. The Super Bowl halftime show is the greatest free advertising any musical artist can get. That's why it's not a paid gig. Now, every halftime show is inevitably going to get memed. It's unavoidable at this point, so why not create your own meme? Or just steal one that's already on the internet? Who put $50 worth of Creed on the Touch Tunes? We did. Creed already gave the greatest halftime show of all time.
Come on! Let's just stand we stare. Can you take me higher?
Bonus points if you also bring back these guys as well. The next genre up is heavy metal or hard rock. I think this is the easiest decision of the night. The band Metallica is from San Francisco, and that happens to be the location of Super Bowl 60. Well, kind of. But it starts out playing the intro to Enter Sandman's then it bleeds into My Hero by the Foo Fighters. The video of the late drummer's son playing with the Foo Fighters after his death gets me every time. The mid to late 2000s was a very weird time for music. Weird because of how diverse it was. Once music got out of the clutches of radio play and labels only pushing what sells, it opened the door for a lot of different genres to explode all at once. So this will be the speed round of the show. You have pop punk, Yellow Card, Ocean Avenue. Flo Rida and T-Pain with Low. This is also about the time K-pop came to prominence in the US with Psy and Gangnam Style. Now, I worked in a middle school in 2013 when this song came out, and it was the bane of my existence. But enough time has passed where it's weirdly nostalgic now. Also, he can only enter the stage like this. Then you have the electric dance era of music, and what other song more encapsulates the genre than Avicii's Levels? But Avicii's dead. Yeah, but he didn't really play an instrument or sing, so I think we're good. Then that leads into the Chainsmokers singing Closer. That song was unavoidable for about 2 years. Then it brings us to our final genre, country. People have been wanting a country-themed halftime show for a while now, because it has exploded into the mainstream over the last decade or so. And the Super Bowl halftime show has not featured a predominantly country-themed show in over 30 years. We can ease into this genre with Morgan Wallen and Post Malone playing I Had Some Help.
I had some help, it ain't like I can
this kind of mess all by myself. Don't act like you ain't help me pull that bottle off the shelf.
Now, I know I've already taken a shot at Zach Bryan earlier in this video, but Revival was one of the greatest things I've ever seen in concert. It's the closest feeling us whites will ever get to that of a black church. So add it to the medley, and maybe have a couple earlier performers join in, just like at his concerts. Then the last performer would be Chris Stapleton. His rendition of the national anthem a few years ago might be top 3 all time. Having him close out the show with White Horse would be the perfect ending to this fever dream of a halftime show. Again, this show would almost certainly be impossible to pull off with all of the acts and the stipulations that I've pulled out of my ass. But there would be at least a segment of this show that would appeal to everyone. Let me know in the comments below, what kind of Super Bowl halftime show would you want to see? And what do you think is the best format for the halftime show? Would you want to see one megastar with a deep catalog, or one headliner with a few surprise guests, or a scaled back version of this medley format? Let me hear it. And if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do that while you're at it. And well...
Well,